On a cold, rainy night, one act of kindness changed two lives forever.
She paid for his meal with her own money, never expecting anything in return.
To Cat!
Her kindness cost her the only job she had.
The next morning, the man everyone ignored returned as a billionaire. Kindness is never wasted, because the people you help today may change your life.
Have you ever wondered if a single act of kindness could change your entire life? What if the person everyone ignored was actually watching? This is the story of Emily Johnson, a young waitress whose kindness cost her everything. But in the end, it gave her more than she ever imagined. Emily was 24 years old. She worked at a small family restaurant in downtown Chicago. The pay wasn't great, the hours were long, and most days, she barely had enough money to cover her rent. But despite all her struggles, she never stopped smiling. Every customer who walked through the door was greeted with the same warm words. "Welcome, it's great to see you today." Her co-workers often asked, "Emily, why are you always so nice?" She would simply smile and say, "Because you never know what someone is going through." That simple belief guided her life. The restaurant was always busy. Families celebrated birthdays there. Business people grabbed quick lunches. Tourists stopped by after exploring the city. Emily knew many of the regular customers by name. She remembered their favorite meals. She remembered their birthdays. To her, serving food wasn't just a job. It was a chance to make someone's day a little better. Unfortunately, not everyone shared her kindness. The restaurant manager, Daniel Brooks, cared about only one thing: money. If a customer looked poor, he wanted them gone. If someone couldn't pay, he refused to serve them. To Daniel, business mattered more than people. Emily never agreed with him, but she needed the job, so she stayed quiet. One cold November evening, dark clouds covered the city. Heavy rain poured onto the streets. The restaurant was filled with customers escaping the weather. Emily hurried from table to table, taking orders, serving meals, and making sure everyone felt welcome. Then, the front door slowly opened. A cold wind rushed inside. Standing in the doorway was an elderly man. His clothes were soaked from the rain. His shoes were worn out. His hands trembled from the cold. The entire restaurant became silent. Several customers looked away. Others whispered to each other. Some frowned, as if the old man didn't belong there. The elderly man slowly stepped toward the counter. In a quiet voice, he asked, "Excuse me, could I please have a glass of water?" Emily looked into his tired eyes. She could see he wasn't just thirsty, he was hungry, very hungry. Without saying a word, she gently smiled. And in that moment, she made a decision that would change her life forever. Emily walked quietly into the kitchen. She filled a glass with fresh water. Then she looked at the hot soup sitting under the warming lights. Fresh bread had just come out of the oven. She paused for a moment. She knew the restaurant's rules. No free meals, no exceptions. But as she looked back at the elderly man sitting alone by the window, she couldn't ignore him. She picked up a bowl of hot soup, added fresh bread, and placed everything carefully on a tray. Walking back to his table, she smiled warmly. "Please enjoy your meal." The old man looked surprised. "I only asked for water," he said softly. Emily smiled. "I know, but everyone deserves a warm meal on a cold night." The man's eyes filled with tears. He folded his hands and quietly whispered, "Thank you. You have no idea what this means to me." Emily simply nodded and walked away. She didn't expect praise. She didn't expect a reward. She only wanted to help someone in need. After the man finished eating, Emily quietly walked to the cash register. She opened her wallet. Inside were only a few dollar bills, money she had been saving for groceries. Without hesitation, she paid for the meal herself. No one noticed, or so she thought. From across the restaurant, manager Daniel Brooks had been watching everything. His face turned red with anger. He stormed across the dining room. Customers stopped eating. The entire restaurant became silent. Daniel pointed at Emily and shouted, "What do you think you're doing?" Emily stayed calm. "I paid for the meal myself." Daniel slammed his hand on the counter. I don't care who paid. We don't serve people like him. You broke company policy. Emily looked around the room. Every customer was watching. Some looked embarrassed. Others lowered their heads. The elderly man slowly stood up. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I never wanted to cause any trouble. But Daniel ignored him. He turned back to Emily. Take off your apron. You're fired. For a few seconds, Emily couldn't believe what she had heard. She had worked there for 3 years. She had never been late, never argued, never complained. And now, she was losing everything because she chose kindness. With trembling hands, she untied her black apron, folded it neatly, placed it on the counter, and quietly whispered, I hope one day you understand that kindness is never a mistake. She picked up her small backpack, walked toward the door, and stepped out into the cold, pouring rain. Behind her, the elderly man watched silently. There was sadness in his eyes, but there was also something else, a quiet smile, as if he already knew. Tomorrow would change everything. Emily spent the entire night wondering how she would pay her rent. She had less than $50 left in her wallet. Finding another job wouldn't be easy. Still, she never regretted helping the old man. I'd do it again, she whispered to herself. The next morning, the restaurant opened as usual. Manager Daniel Brooks walked in proudly, convinced he had made the right decision. He laughed with a few employees. People like Emily are too emotional, he said. Business comes first. Suddenly, a restaurant employee looked through the front window. Mr. Brooks? I think you should see this. Daniel walked outside. 5 black luxury SUVs slowly pulled into the parking lot. Men in elegant suits stepped out first. Then came several lawyers. Finally, the rear door of the last SUV opened. The same elderly man stepped out. But this time, he wasn't wearing torn clothes. He wore a perfectly tailored navy blue suit. A luxury watch gleamed on his wrist. His shoes were polished. His posture was confident. The restaurant staff stared in complete silence. Daniel's smile disappeared. It can't be. The old man calmly walked toward the entrance. As soon as he entered, every conversation stopped. He looked around the restaurant with the same gentle smile. Then he spoke. Good morning, everyone. My name is William Carter. I am the founder and majority owner of Carter Hospitality Group. The room froze. Daniel's face turned pale. William continued. For the past 6 months, I've been visiting restaurants across the country, disguised as a homeless man. I wasn't looking for the best food. I was looking for the best people. He slowly turned toward Daniel. Yesterday, I found both kindness and cruelty. William signaled to one of his lawyers. The lawyer placed a folder on the table. Inside were official purchase documents. I signed these papers this morning. As of today, this restaurant belongs to me. No one said a word. The silence was so deep, you could hear a spoon fall to the floor. Daniel realized his life was about to change forever. Daniel stood frozen. His hands began to shake. He looked at William Carter and whispered, Sir, I'm so sorry. I didn't know who you were. William looked at him calmly. That's exactly the problem. You shouldn't need to know who someone is before treating them with dignity. The restaurant fell completely silent. Every employee lowered their head. William continued, Yesterday, I wasn't testing your food. I was testing your character. He nodded toward one of his lawyers. Please bring Emily here. An hour later, Emily walked through the restaurant doors. She looked confused. She had no idea why she had been called back. When she saw William standing there, she smiled. I'm so glad you're okay, she said. I was worried about you. William smiled warmly. And even today, the first thing you ask is whether I'm okay. That tells me everything I need to know. He turned to everyone in the restaurant. This young woman didn't help me because she expected a reward. She helped me because she has a good heart. William picked up a folder from the table. He handed it to Emily. She opened it slowly. Her eyes filled with tears. It was an official contract. William smiled. I don't know what to say, William replied. Just keep doing what you've always done. Lead with kindness. The restaurant erupted in applause. Some employees wiped tears from their eyes. Then William turned toward Daniel one last time. Your employment ends today, not because you made one mistake, but because you forgot the most important rule in business. Security quietly escorted Daniel out of the restaurant. Before leaving, William addressed the entire staff. Every person who walks through these doors deserves respect. It doesn't matter how they dress, how much money they have, or what job they do. Months later, the restaurant became one of the highest rated in the city. Customers didn't just come for the food, they came because everyone was treated with warmth and respect. Emily never forgot the rainy night that changed her life, and every evening, she kept one table near the window reserved for anyone who was hungry and couldn't afford a meal, because one act of kindness can change a life forever. Remember, kindness costs nothing, but its rewards can be priceless.